Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Like the topic goes, harnessing, it is like saying harnessing the strength of the woman politician. And at this moment, they're looking at the Benue State example. We're supposed to have 4 women join us in the panel who are politically inclined. But I think what we'll have here is just about 2 of them instead of 4. So let me begin with the Benue State First Lady. She will tell us her story. She has to tell us the story of what's going on in their state, what herself and her husband, as one individual, have been able to do to ensure that women representation in the state affair is very, very encouraging. So let's begin from you. First Lady, welcome to, once again, welcome to the summit. Okay, Ibijoke, please join us. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, welcome. Ladies, please, it's time for us to listen to a very, very important talk, because this is the foundation. Because we do not have wonderful enough representation in politics in our different countries, we do not have women representation as high enough as we have in Rwanda. Even if we don't get to Rwanda, it's even difficult getting 30-25% in some countries. So let's hear from Her Excellency Eunice Ortom Samuel.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to start on a personal note. First, I have acknowledged that there is a gap in women leading strategic roles in the state. And secondly, I have ever appreciated the talents the Benue women have to fit into every strategic position in all sectors. And then thirdly, engaging with the various members of the Benue community, my eyes opened more as a development worker. I have been a development worker before having the position or occupying the position of a First Lady of my dear state. And again, my eyes opened much more in my position as the wife of the governor of Benue State, concerning the challenges that women face in my society, that's in Benue State. And that prompted me more, having also appreciate the qualities our Benue women have to offer in contributing towards the development of our state. That prompted me to do something, because I knew something can be done to change the narrative. And I also acknowledge that I won't be able to do that all by myself. And so how did I start going about it? One, I identified very influential women politicians who have served in various capacities in the past and present. I got in touch with them and shared my vision with them for us to work together as a team to see how we are able to get more women to participate in politics and other leadership roles in the state. So we got about working together for this very cause. And again, we began mobilizing women to create greater awareness. The awareness has been there for a while, but we had to strengthen on the awareness for our women to understand why they need to be part of what is happening in our state so that we are able to promote our interests and to also, through this channel, achieve our goals as individuals and even as a group. Being a marginal group, it was necessary for us to collectively work together and achieve women's goals, which one is for each and every one of us to develop our talents, to demonstrate our talents once given the opportunity, and to also be able to impact on society. And so since then, we have worked assiduously to achieve this goal. And by God's grace, we have been able to achieve results. We have been able to achieve feats in uplifting women politically. In the first tenure of His Excellency, we were able to get women into key political leadership positions, such as heading government agencies and also being executive chairman of some of the local governments. And for the first time, Benue State was able to give women the opportunity to serve as executives at the local government areas. We were able to get about 7 or 8 women, I think about 7 for the first time. And then the second time around, we were able to get about 8. Okay, then currently we were able to get about 9 into the executive position at the local government levels. And we were able to penetrate that much because we had to work with the men and we had to bring up our lobbying skills, dialoguing, having both private and public interface with the men. And in our climb, we have, just as it is in other places as well, we have men leading even in the political structure. The parties have all the men at the top. And so most times they conclude on matters before we get the opportunity of trying to make them understand why we should be involved in whatever we are doing. And we got learning along the way. And I tried to get enlightened on political activities. I also encouraged my women to keep them to keep abreast of political happenings in the state, so we do not approach them when it's already late. And that actually helped us. And this time around, we tried to get our women prepared. And normally what I would do is to get the women who have shown interest in supporting me towards this cause to put out their eyes in their various communities, because we have council wards. And I would tell them, ensure that you identify a woman with the capacity to run for councillor, to run for House of Assembly member, or whichever position that will be available. And let's see how we all support such women to be able to make it successfully to the end. And that really helped us. We tried to prepare our women, we tried to give them the support, and good enough, we also have been working with women organizations such as National Council Women's Societies, because one of their aims is to improve on women's welfare and to also encourage and support them politically.
Okay, Your Excellency. Yes, I'll come back to ask you the next question, because from the information I gathered, it's like you have 9 local government chairmen as women.
Yeah, out of 23 local governments.
Out of 23 local governments. And
we asked for 10, but we got 9. We thank God for that.
And you just explained how you got to this stage.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, even for His Excellency, my dear husband. Whenever I would approach him that, okay, the time has come now, how can we be able to make it? Just talk to your people. And he'll be like, it's going to be difficult because stakeholders have already sat and decided on how things will go. And I'll tell them I don't mind to meet the stakeholders. And I always met with them. And gradually, we were able to, relate well together. At some point, I had to get our women, call on the party chairman of the ruling party in the state, of course, to discuss with him on how he should be more supportive of our cause. And so we've been getting in touch with the stakeholders, particularly the male stakeholders, to support us in our aim to involve women in politics.
All right, we're hoping that you sustain this because after we're going into another election, and what the women are prepared to see from Benue State is to see how women can also move forward to House of Representatives and at least have 1 out of the 3 seats.
For all the positions, we made a case, we made a demand. Even for the councillors, we asked that for every council ward, we should have 1 woman representing us, and also have deputy chairmen, secretaries, and at the stakeholders meeting, most of the women seated here were with me. When we had to face the male stakeholders, it wasn't easy. Some were like, no, it can't happen. That would be more than 35% affirmative. But at the end of the day, they felt the need to cooperate with us, and we've been able to get most of the positions.
Thank you. All right, let's go forward. Ibijoke Faborode, you're a politician, isn't it? Okay, sorry, I thought you're a politician.
Can you hear me?
You're not a politician.
No, I'm
but
not.
You understand politics.
I run an organization that raises money to fund women to run for office.
I hope you listened to the Benue State Her Excellency.
Absolutely.
So how do you think we can achieve results? I know that the bill 111 bill for women was thrown out in Nigeria, and all the bills thrown out, 5 of them. So it's a battle. If you're looking forward to having women get to that position, what do you think is possible?
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Great. Thank you for that, and thank you, Excellency, and I commend the good work you're doing in the state. And I hope we have more states actually take this on as well, because the Governor's Wives Forum is such a very pivotal and very influential coalition. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, they were very instrumental to ensure that some states could domesticate it. They also did support the 5 gender bills that were thrown out to ensure that some of them were actually reconsidered on the floor of the House. So I feel like there's so much power that's wielded, and there's so much they can do as well. So I do encourage, the Governor's Wives Forum to also take on this mantle as well. When we talk about elections, there's the perspective, the theoretical perspective that a lot of people allude to, and there's a pragmatic perspective. I think finding the balance between being idealist and also being pragmatic is very important. There's the current context. The political environment or the climate is not really supportive of women. Now, here's the thing. Nobody's going to give up power that easily. You either have to take it, but when you want to take it, you have to come with value and resources. You have to be able to negotiate. Now, I'm not a politician, but what my organization does is to discuss with stakeholders. We also mobilize resources. So I don't like to use the word money because I feel like that's a very myopic perspective. Resources is widespread from human, technological, financial, and social resources. Now, in the United States, organizations like Emily's List, Vote Run List, She Should Run, have been so instrumental in putting money together, raising money, raising resources, raising communities to ensure that they actually de-risk the process of running for women, for pro-choice women. Now, the African context or the Nigerian context is different, but there's so many gains that we can also learn from that. It's still the game of money that will play in Nigeria and other climes as well. So I'm going to say something. Now, I know yesterday people mentioned the conversations around free forms for women. Now, personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of my organization. Personally, I think it's a trap. And I'll tell you why. A man pays 10 million for a form. A woman pays 1 million. What table do you think you have to sit on? Now, women are coming to the helms of power in the private sector, boardrooms. We need to translate these gains into politics. I also think it's time for honest conversations amongst women. We need to shy away from sentiments and be comfortable with your ugly truth or the uncomfortable truth. There is a culture of entitlement. And I'm not here to look good or sound good. It should be an honest conversation. My organization, I have women who come with a zero budget. Now, in Nigeria, the 4 years to get ready for an election. The moment a man loses, he starts preparing for the next election. You cannot wait 6 months to election and think someone is going to hand it over to you. You must prepare yourself. You must be mentored. You must build your social capital. They say your network is your net worth. When you want to run for office, come so that people can respect you. When you come from a place of being sorry and people are going to take advantage of you. Now, it is not easy. I'm a woman as well, and every day I have to face hurdles, even in the field I play. So I understand that it is not easy for women. However, we must show up as women. We cannot show up sorry every time. The men are also not sitting down. Now, I like us to, women's issue is not just women's issue, it's everyone's issue. Because when women win, society wins at large. And I think we also need to look at that from that lens as well. It's not just being women. There are men that also disenfranchised, but they look for the money. When men are running, they start looking at different things. Who's on my network? Who can I call? I need to get money for my form so that when I go and meet a stakeholder, I show them I'm ready. Some women will come, there's no budget at all. Some women will even tell me, Electa, I thought you were going to give me money to buy a phone. I'm like, what do you mean? Show me you have value and substance. Now, as an organization, we get donor money. But donors do not fund politics. They do not fund candidates. Now, what we are doing is now we're going to the private sector. We're going to well-meaning citizens. We're also leveraging the diaspora population to raise money. We launched something called Electa Citizen Crowdfund recently. And the goal is to build on the gains of the NSAS campaign. How many people know about the NSAS protest here? Good. That's one of the most successful movements we had in my generation. Now, there's a level of apathy between the private sector, the middle class in Nigeria, where they just try to shy away from politics. But the truth is that everything touches everyone. Now, something profound happened during the NSAS. We all complain about the brain drain on the continent, where people are migrating each day to find, greener grasses. But what happened during that was NSAS campaign, you actually had Nigerian citizens from the diaspora, African citizens in the diaspora, put money together to fund that movement, and that made it sustainable. Now, when Africans, when Nigerians, when we as humans believe in something, it is about faith and hope and belief. We will put resources together. A lot of women have no digital footprint. You want to run for office, nobody knows you. You want to run for office, you're not talking about issues. You want to run for office, you're not engaging in the things that matter. Let's be honest with ourselves. We have a long way to go. Every time I come for these events, we talk about, we need to support women. But the truth is that, what are we not doing right? What can we do better as human beings? How can we develop ourselves, our technical capacity? How can we show up? I say something, when I want to go for a meeting, yes, I love to look good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also, what I ensure is that when I speak, you would respect me. There will be a curiosity around me. So when I come to ask, I'm not coming from a place of liability. I'm coming from a place of, now let's negotiate and talk business. There are women that are thriving in that space. And it is not easy. I'm not undermining what women go through, from sexual harassment to exploitation. Now, violence is not just physical. There's also verbal violence as well. There's psychological violence as well. There's so many forms of violence against women in politics and women in general. But we must now will that into power and strength. We must gather together. We must mobilize resources. There are 3 elections in West Africa next year. There's Liberia, there's Sierra Leone, there's Nigeria. Why can't we have a West Africa fund for women in politics? Why can't we get West Africans in the diaspora to fund women that are credible? And when I say credible, I am done with the culture of tokenism. My organization will not fund a woman because she's a woman. I'm going to fund you because you're credible, you're intelligent, you're articulate, and you have a manifesto and an agenda. You must be uncomfortable with the ugly truth. Because when women get there, the lens on them, the pressure to do more, you have to work 10 times harder than the men, and that is the reality. You cannot fix the system from the outside. So it is so important we get women elected. Because when we get women elected, they can now push the women's agenda, the children's agenda, and the society's agenda. The month that ushered in the International Women's Month, the first day, 5 gender bills that were meant to protect the rights and the lives and the economic and social well-being of women were thrown out at the bicameral legislature of the Nigerian National Assembly. Now, here's the thing. Out of 360 House of Representative members, you have 11. What do you think the priority will be? So I think we need to understand the opportunity cost of not having women in power. There's so many women in business. You all walk around in apathy. How are you raising up the woman in politics? Because those policies affect your bottom line. When I'm talking to people in the private sector, I tell them something. Oga, let me tell you something. People there that are making the policies that help you with your bottom line to get profit, a lot of them don't care about consumer behavior. Consumer behavior drive profitability because people drive business.
All right.
Right? So let me just round up. People drive business. And so when you have people at the helms of affair that are not shaping the right policy to give you an enabling environment, what happens is recession. So as we go into the political season in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and West Africa, women, come out with your resources to support credible women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's another dimension to the discussion. Yes, you have to look for women that are ready to run, not just any woman, but you look for those that have the intelligence, that are strong enough financially and otherwise to stand the men. So Edidiong, Aina, I know that you're a politician and you're also looking forward to say, yes, I want to be in the race. But there are challenges before you in Nigeria, a very large one. She has mentioned some of them. So can you just tell us what you think will be done at this moment? One, are you ready to run?
Just like she had called me, my name is Reverend Edidiong John, the CEO of Mothers in Nigeria Foundation that has graduated to Mothers in Africa Foundation. I personally am ready to run for the Senate in my senatorial zone because it has been zoned to that zone. I come from a state where the governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, and the wife, Dr. Martha Udom Emmanuel, have already laid the foundation for women to be accommodated in the political leadership. As I'm talking to you, we have 31 local governments, And in those local governments, 31 of women are vice chairmen, courtesy of Dr. Martha Odom Emmanuel. And she came out and really called on the women to stand election. As I'm talking to you, I'm the only one that has come out in the midst of 9 people, 9 men to stand election to go to the Senate. And the narrative is, one space must be given to the woman. But my challenges are, and my experience, as I came out, so many people expected me to put aside 2 billion before I can go to the Senate. And I asked them, where was I supposed to keep the 2 million and what is it for? Where I'm going to is where there is money, and the politics is about effective representation and being able to bring the resources back to the community. And why I'm standing election is because I noticed that the community resources is put in people's pockets that are supposed to be standing as, constituency projects. So I'm challenging the men around in my constituency, in my senatorial district. I said, you want to go to the Senate, you've been to House of Assembly, you've been to House of Reps, show me one thing in the land that you have put in place. Is it only to bring this money back after 4 years, put in your pocket and still come and intimidate everybody by giving them stipend? And when I came out, because I'm coming out to change this posture of money politics. So when I started consultation, some places they will give me a list of what I need to put on the table. And in some places I told them, no, I'm not going to pay anybody to vote for me. I'm not going to buy any delegates. I'm not buying anybody. Because this is why the politicians don't come back after election. I intend to come back, the town meeting halls being many times after the election, because they don't come back, because they have paid the people that put them there. I personally, I don't want to go through that way, because if I'm about to effect a change, I should start it on the right note. I may not have all the money, but I have the vision to go and represent my people and bring back the resources to alleviate their situation, especially the women. I'm so unhappy when I see women wear uniform to functions, political functions, and they keep them there for hours. And at the end of it, 1,500 is shared for them to go home. That thing hurts me. And in my meetings, I don't pay transport for anybody. And I said, if I pay transport for you to come, you are going to be sitting on the floor. Why can't you stand and do something with your hands? So on that note, I've trained women for the past 10 years that have been in Akwa Ibom. I've raised women entrepreneurs, have helped women to own, their businesses. And that it's shocking to me that these are some of the women that are delegates that are coming out in their jeans and their caps, and they are saying, Mama, whether you have money or not, we are standing by you. But the men, there's a political culture that you must pay money, that you must do this. I'm just bearing this for you people to know the challenges that I'm facing. They said it is free. It is not free. Even though we are not paying at the same level with the men. But by the time you go through consultations, my personal experience is that millions have already gone out of my hand. I came to this conference because I know that in this country, a lot of women are in the parliament. I said, let me go and shake hands with them as my faith that after now, I'm going to, from their experience and the faith in me that I will go back and win this election. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Edidiong Aina. Now, Ijeoma Gladys Uche Ezeala. Yes, you're smiling. I'm sure you have a lot to tell us, but with this short time that we're giving you now, can you just try and talk to women here? These are African women. They're not just here because they are here because they want to have a voice in the society. In a society where we have men dominating, they don't just dominate, but they want to dominate your life. So how do we break even? How can women become part of politics in African countries?
Hello, Mama Bears. Good morning. Good morning, Mama Bears.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is IJ, and I did run for council in Canada. It wasn't easy. It was not. But one thing I had to do, we got into Canada close to 13 years, and I made sure I was part of the community. I was known. And we volunteer. You are not paid to do that. I think it's a culture we need to change in Africa. You do things, you want to be paid for it. No. Those big countries are built on volunteering, people giving their services to build the community. And so when I got into the country, I put out myself there. And I also got someone to mentor me, to tell me what to do, to be accountable to. We all want to be in politics. It is good. It is applaudable. But what are we doing to prepare ourselves for that higher position? Are we giving out service? There's a famous quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, everyone cannot be famous. He said everyone can be famous. But we can be great. And in greatness, it means serving. And I love, one of my mantra when I ran for council was, we're stronger together. We can do so much if we work together. The men will always dominate. It is their nature. But one thing we can do, we can influence it and change that narrative. I was fortunate this year during the International Women Day to be nominated as a woman of inspiration to the next generation. And one thing I made sure during my speech was to make all the men stand up. And I told them, we demand that every man support women to break the bias. We cannot do it without their support. And I love what the Excellency said yesterday when we were chatting. We need to make our own table and set it and have women there. But it's sad to see that when women come up to that position, do they throw away that ladder? I'm going to tell you the truth. When I ran for politics, when I ran for council, I had to literally go to all women group, the Somalian, the Malian, the Ethiopian, the Nigerian group, the Ghanaian, the Cameroon. I had to persuade. And you know what they say? My husband might not allow me to. I said, but we are all complaining there's racism, systemic racism. It's out there in the Western world. It is, but you don't see it. But we know. But why won't you want to support your own sister? I'm black. It doesn't change. I'm a Nigerian, Canadian. Look, we're all one. But please, when we get to that position, let's not throw away the ladder. Let's ensure to bring the next lady up there. And Maya Angelou said, the win of one woman is the win of all women. And I applaud us to do the same.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Dorcas Adelakoko Sambo. I know you have something to tell us.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everyone. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's good to have your presence around us. This shows that we have good support and we have your backing. Thank you for all of your sacrifices, because I know it takes so much for you to be able to be here. Thank you so much, ma. It's so good again to meet with you again, Electa. We were together in Abuja, February, at the International Women Conference. And I remember one thing she said in the hall. She said, if you are below the age of 40, can you say hi? Did you hear any hi? I was the only young person there. In fact, I made a video. Yesterday when we spoke, I told her, I'm sorry I've not sent your video. I've been so engaged. Okay. I stand for inclusive education. And what is inclusive education? Education for all. I'm sure some of us, we know that we have some people in the society that looks as though maybe, in quotes, we call them, they are not normal. We all are special. I want us to know that. Some people own is just obvious. Some people are visually impaired. Some people are, audio visually impaired. But we all are special in our way. Now, coming to politics and leadership, every woman is a leader. Every woman is a nurturer. Every woman is a multiplier. In her speech, she was talking about greatness. Greatness is common to all. But how do you nurture greatness? Through service. Are you willing to serve? What are you doing in your community? We have been able to do so much through Better Hill School, where I serve as executive director, and also the founder of Better Days Ahead Foundation, where we have been pushing advocacy for inclusion, education for all. Every child can learn. When a girl child is empowered, I tell you, there is a limit to which she can go. So I would not want to talk so much to bore us, but I would just want us to remember one thing today, that every child can learn. Every woman can learn. The empowerment of a woman is the empowerment of all. And when a woman wins, remember, the community wins, the society wins, the family wins. So please, I want to encourage us, as we go back even after this conference, we should not let it end there. That seed of education, you can educate, it takes a village to raise a child. I know back then, those days, when we were growing up, we would always have anybody correct us. Everybody would. But now, the Indomie generation, it seems as though, no, you cannot talk to the social media and the internet. No. Anywhere you are, just try and lighten up the candle. Right. And I know that as we continue to keep up with this advocacy, together, every woman can win, and we shall win. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of this panel. I'd like to say thank you to Our Excellency, Eunice Ortom Samuel. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you, too, to Ibijoke. Thank you. We appreciate. I do hope we'll meet somewhere, sometime in Abuja. So thank you, too. And thanks to Ijeoma Uche Ezeala. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mama. I say thank you. Edidion Aina, thank you so much. And our youngest panelist here, thank you for your time. Dorcas? Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
But this is the much we can take for now. At this moment, can we put our hands together for them? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's time.